In this video, I'm going to share with you how change actually happens when you work with the unconscious mind rather than relying on logic or reason or willpower. And this is the work that I do with my hypnosis and NLP clients who feel like they've been stuck, even if they consider themselves smart and self-aware and they've been doing the inner work for a long period of time. The unconscious mind is responsible for all of the autopilot responses. I like to think of it as the background things that are running in the background of your life. You don't think about your heart beating or your liver enzymes, your hormones, your breath. Those are things that are running like programs. And so when a problem feels automatic, like a belief or a negative emotion or a trigger, and you're not thinking about it, that typically means it's unconscious. So the unconscious mind, this is very interesting. It doesn't, we've talked about in previous videos, it doesn't respond to logic and reason. You can be super aware of the problem and it doesn't move it. What it actually responds to, and this is very surprising, is imagery, symbolism, emotion, and experience. It's almost like when you're dreaming. Your dreams are not logical. They are often very symbolic. And it's almost like it's a completely different language, right? But here's the thing, when we speak the language of the unconscious, we can reprogram it. We can change the symbolism or the metaphors. Think about it this way. Have you ever heard someone describe it? They feel like the weight of the world is on their shoulders, or you take two steps forward and three steps back. It's a metaphor for how life feels. But when we change the metaphor and how your mind is visually representing this, it's very different from talk therapy. It's very different from talking about it. But when you update the symbols and metaphors that your mind is using, you can literally feel different. It's almost like you can create a different way of being, a different pathway, so that you're updating your internal map or your internal blueprint about how that issue used to be, which creates different pathways, different ways of being, which makes new responses available. So I'll share with you a brief story of how this works. I had a client who was super stuck with money. She had to take a loan out to pay me because she's like, I don't have any money. My business isn't making any money. And when we looked at her internal map of how her mind was processing this, all of her triggers and fear and lack around money were connected to a past relationship. So she had all these negative associations with having money because the more money she had, she perceived it as like the worse she got treated. And so, in a weird way, she consciously knew that she wanted to make more money and it would technically be safer to have more money. But her unconscious mind had all of these negative associations with having the money. And so it created this world where she was completely stuck. When we removed that, we updated the metaphor to basically unplug from all of the old associations and plug it into like, hey, it's actually safe to have money. You're not in that relationship anymore. Her mind updated and she made $30,000 in that first month. And she said, after I connected with her a few months later, and she's like, I'm still making really good money every month because her mind created new connections and new ways of being where it was easier for her to keep up the momentum. She was not in this inner conflict with herself anymore. And all we did was literally change how the metaphor that her mind was using for this and create a pathway forward. And her mind updated and allowed money to come in. So in the next video, what I'm going to do is break down how like hypnosis and NLP really work, because a lot of times people have this perception that they're going to lose control or you're vulnerable, and it is nothing like that. So in the next video, we'll talk about how this works and you can see if it's a good fit for you.